Well, hello, boys and girls, and welcome to a special edition of Movie Goodness here on the KB Radio Network. And welcome to the review of Disney Plus Marvel Studios brand new television miniseries, I guess you could say, Secret Invasion, which is now available on Disney Plus. First episode dropped this Wednesday, June the 21st, and it stars Samuel L. Jackson reprising his role as Nick Fury. This show is created by Kyle Bradstreet, uh, is based on a Marvel Comics storyline of the same name, loosely based. And this is the ninth TV series in the MCU or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's produced by, of course, Marvel Studios. And this shares continuity with the rest of the MCU. And along with Samuel L. Jackson, we have Ben Mendelsohn, who returns as Tattles. We have Kingsley Ben Ador, Dermot Mulroney, Christopher McDonald, Emily Clark, Olivia Colman, and Don Cheadle joins this stellar cast along with Kobe Smulders. And Secret Invasion, the premise is Nick Fury uncovers a conspiracy by a group of renegade Skrulls led by Galric to gain control of Earth by assuming positions of power across the world, recruiting Telos to stop it and save humanity. I must start off by saying that this will have spoilers. I'm not gonna go beat by beat uh throughout the whole episode. This first episode, which is titled Resurrection, is directed by Ali Salam, and Ali Salam directs all of the episodes to be exact. And this was an interesting start to this series. It's a slow burn. I'm gonna just to let all y'all know. Be prepared for that if you haven't watched it yet. It is a slow burn, but I was expecting that. This is a spy thriller, and I was in high anticipation of this show because this looks like a grittier, you know, grounded in a sense, even though we have scrolls involved, uh, take on this Marvel Comics storyline. Now, in the Marvel Comics, it went deeper. It involved a lot of superheroes that we know and love from the comics. You know, they were impersonating, they being the scrolls, were impersonating superheroes and everybody else pretty much. And it was a crazy run in the comic series. I remember reading it and getting frustrated. I was getting frustrated when I was reading that comic run. But in this particular show, unless something happens dramatically in the next 5 episodes, because it's only 6 episodes total, I don't think superheroes are going to play a big role in this show. But like I said, this is a loose adaptation, so I went in pretty much expecting that. But I have a fear that a lot of the MCU fans and comic book movie lovers and whatnot, even fans of the Disney Plus shows that have been kind of bubbly and happy for the most part, especially if you look at Miss Marvel, even a Hawkeye, you know, as examples of just fun shows, which I did enjoy. I enjoyed all of them, but this is dark. Even WandaVision, which had some dark undertones, didn't go heavily in, lean heavily into the darkness of what this show it has been promised to deliver. And that's all good. You know, you need to switch it up. If you want to, combat this quote unquote superhero fatigue that a lot of critics and fans alike have been uh pretty much saying for the past couple of years, you got to switch up the genre. You know, we can't get the same beats in comic book movies and television shows. So if we're going to switch it up and have a spy thriller, let's have a spy thriller. And this I don't like I said, can't speak for the rest of this season, but this first episode was definitely dark and it was uh, uh disturbing at parts. You know what I'm saying? And it really makes you question who can you trust, which is the tagline of this show. Who can you trust? Because the scrolls can impersonate anybody, which we find out later on when one of the main characters lets their guard down and essentially was murdered by one of these scrolls impersonating Nick Fury. We'll get to that a little later. We start off with Martin Freeman. He returns as Everest Ross, and that was a kind of a I don't know what should I say. This was kind of a shock that he popped up in the show. I did see that he was going to be a part of this show, but I didn't know it was the first scene of the of the show. And we later find out that he's actually a scroll impersonating Everest Ross, trying to get information or see how much information this CIA agent had on the scrolls and their ultimate plan to take over the earth. So, to put it in layman's terms or try to shorten it up some, scrolls, if we remember from Captain Marvel, scrolls were here. Uh, they're trying to find a home, and uh, Nick Fury promised to find him a home, and here we are 30 years later. They still haven't found the home, and we have a division amongst the scrolls. Some who are still with Nick Fury, and those who have defected, believing Nick Fury has abandoned their cause. Uh, we know the blip has taken place since then. We see Nick Fury affected by the blip. He's not the same, and this was a beat that was played out throughout the episode when Nick Fury returned from Sable, the space station in space, and everybody is telling him you're not the same. You're not ready for this. You're back on Earth, but you're not the Nick Fury that we know and love. Uh, and he wasn't. He is truly affected by what took place with the blip. They even had a little flashback of it, and I would imagine that would mess me up too. To all of a sudden be turned into dust and come back. What was it, 7 years later, or however long it was? But yeah, that is disturbing, and it really did a job on Nick Fury. Um, Talos returns, played by Ben Mendelsohn, and I love Ben Mendelsohn. He is one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood, in my humble opinion. He one of the most underrated because he delivers in everything, and I really enjoyed him in the role that we last left him in Captain Marvel. And he had a brief appearance in Spider-Man: Far From Home when he actually was impersonating Nick Fury. But it was good to see him back and really having fun with this role again. I'll say this: one of the things that I was bothered by in Captain Marvel were the scrolls, because I remember reading in the comics, particularly this storyline, the Secret Invasion storyline, when the scrolls were the bad guys, but they flipped it on us in Captain Marvel. So I was like, this is weird. This is a weird choice. Why why are they going to abandon that? Because there's so much story they can tell if the scrolls were the villains. You know what I'm saying? In future films, but it looked like they're course correcting, or they had a plan all along, and led up to this show. And this is what I wanted to see. So that's why I don't have any complaints with it. Where I'm seeing a lot of people online, some critics that aren't too favorable with the opening of this series, but I'm actually on board with this. Um, the Renegade Scrolls, the ones who want to take over the Earth, is led by Gavik, who is portrayed by Kingsley Ben Adar. I believe I'm saying his name right, but I've seen him in a few films, and I'm enjoying it so far. He didn't have many lines in here, but he was menacing for the time he was there. They really went in. For a Disney Plus show, we've seen a lot of murder so far. There's been a lot of deaths in this show. Uh, namely the biggest one. Spoilers again. Maria Hill, and I must say that one was kind of like, wow, they really gonna kill Maria Hill here? I mean, she's been Fury's right hand woman since the beginning, and she was the main one telling Fury that you're not ready for this. If you're gonna you're gonna end up getting somebody killed, uh, if your head doesn't get screwed on tight. And ironically enough, the next day, she's the one that gets killed uh, by Galvic, who was impersonating Nick Fury. It was that was heartbreaking, and then to see Nick Fury not himself, not himself, and that's why I'm enjoying Samuel Jackson's performance thus far, because this is a different side of Nick Fury as opposed to the previous appearances in the MCU, and I'm liking it so far. I really am. He's he's tortured here. He's really hurt here. We see a little bit of a sensitive side here. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on in that mind of his. And it's Samuel L. Jackson. This dude, he can do it. He can play it all, and I'm pretty sure that was a stipulation for him returning in this. He wanted to dive deeper into this character. Kudos to him. He really is so far. Uh, Other members of the cast that I'm enjoying: Emily Clark. We all know from Game of Thrones. I liked her performance so far. She's the daughter of Talos, grown up, Gaia, and she is working with Gavik. I think I'm saying his name right, Gavik, and unknowingly, that Gavik is the one who murdered her mother, which she just found out. She did not know until she saw her father, and her father informed her that you're working for the man that killed your mother. It is like, oh, it was soul crushing. It did. The scene that after, when she was in that alley and she just broke down, I was like, oh man, she is giving it here. They really giving us something here. This is good stuff. But but even though it seemed like she was gonna turn on Gavik, I kind of had a feeling like, oh, it's kind of early for her to make a turn. And she marked the bags for them to find out which one had the bombs and whatnot. And it come to find out that those bags were empty. So that lets you know that, I don't think she's on the level here. And so we shall see how that plays out. Going back to Talos still has love for his people. He doesn't want to kill his people. He doesn't want to hurt his people. And when Nick Fury shoots and kills one of the scrolls that Talos was having a fight with, Talos was just hurt, man. He was like, I told you not to do that. I had it, even though he was getting his behind whipped. Yeah, he was like, I told you not to do it. And you felt where he was coming from there. Even though he's the scroll was the enemy, he did not want to harm him because of his love for his people. And that adds a different dynamic to what's going on here. With that being said, we still don't know who to trust here. There's so much going on, and especially with these scrolls, you don't know who's who. You don't know who to trust. And they did a good job in this first episode of really planting that seed of, you just don't know. And I'm excited for what's to come. But this was a good start to the series. I'm not gonna grade this episode. I'm not gonna grade any of the episodes until the season finale, and I'll just grade the entire season as a whole. But I will say this episode was a good jumping off point. Really enjoyed it. I can see where a lot of people will feel this is a slow moving show, but there's a lot to set up here. But it wasn't just a talky setup episode. It actually moved the story along. A lot of setup, but it is a slow burn. But I'm enjoying the burn. Check out Secret Invasion episode 1 entitled Resurrection right now on Disney Plus. I think this is going to be one of those sleeper shows that's going to knock people's socks off. I'm excited. I'm excited. Are you excited for Secret Invasion? It hasn't had a lot of fanfare. I've noticed that not too many people are talking about Secret Invasion. Even the lead up to Secret Invasion, it's been kind of quiet. I don't know I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but so far I'm enjoying it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of worried to be honest, because normally when studios or networks do this, kind of do under the radar promotion for their content, it means they don't have 100% confidence in it, and so I don't know. I don't know if the wheel's gonna fall off, but we can just live in a moment. And right now, me likey. Secret Invasion is currently available on Disney Plus. I would like to know if you're enjoying it so far, this one episode. Uh, and are you excited for the rest of the season? I mean, it's Samuel Jackson, people. What can go wrong? Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on Twitter at KB Radio Network and on other social media platforms. Just look up the KB Radio Network. Don't forget, we're on YouTube. Go to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and like this video, please, ma'am, please, sir. Speaking of giving likes and loves, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever it is you are currently listening to movie goodness here on the KB Radio Network. Thank you for joining me for this review of the first episode of Secret Invasion entitled Resurrection. Can't wait to speak to you next week for episode 2. Until then, I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love one another. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.